Now, if you ever hope to obtain sustainable sobriety, there are a few things that have to happen. Number one is you have to admit that you have a problem. You have to have the realization that the alcohol that's in your life is harming your health, it's harming your productivity, and it's harming the relationships in your life, not to mention your own mental well-being. That's obvious. We've talked about videos on that in the past. Other things that really need to help happen is you need to stop overthinking the victimization that's going on in your life. You have to stop recreating past experiences that run over and over in your life. And this is the reason why you're drinking. It's covering up those emotions. And you have to stop the victimization that's actually in the reality of your life. The overthinking has become the reality of your life. Now, for example, maybe you grew up poor, or maybe you had parents or a family member who was abusive to you when you were a child and you had to overcome some things other people didn't have to. Maybe emotional abuse, physical abuse, or some other kind of abuse. Maybe you have a spouse who's abusive. It's a very unhappy relationship. Maybe you got in a bad accident. Maybe, you have PTSD, or you were in the army and you had to deal with some very serious things. Or you're you're first responders. They have to deal with similar types of PTSD. Or you have some other similar element. Maybe you have kind of a personality defect, or it's just your personality. For example, maybe you are, an introvert. You're socially awkward. It's a big problem for a lot of people, and that can be covered up with alcohol. You could have, borderline personality disorder, ADHD, attention deficit disorder. You could be bipolar, schizophrenia, some other psychological illness. Or maybe you've just become addicted to the alcohol because it's covering up repressed emotions like depression, anxiety, stress, the usual culprits. Anxiety certainly is a huge one. Understanding what you're covering up is the first step you need to take to recovery. So to backtrack, again, you have to stop being the victim in your life and using victimization as an excuse to drink. I had a hard day at work today. My boss was, mean to me, and some of the projects that we were working on didn't work out, and I just had a lot of stress right now, so I came home and started to drink. Or I came home and, my husband had a bad day and he was kind of grumpy and mean to me, so I decided to drink. Or, there are things that happened in life. Someone died in my life, so I decided to drink. I lost my job, so I decided to drink. I got in a car accident, so I decided to drink. My son or daughter is sick, so I decided to drink. And then just replaying episodes in your childhood over and over and over again. Well, they were mean to me back in 1998. Somebody was mean to me, so I'm going to keep drinking because I keep replaying some scenario in my head that happened 25 or 30 or 40 years ago or longer. Okay, and you can't get that out of your head, and it's a replay. You have like this tape in your head over and over and over and over again. Although it has nothing to do with your present reality, it's become an excuse for you to drink, and you create anxiety, and you overthink, and this is why you're drinking, and this is why you've created this pattern of drinking on a regular basis. Okay, it's to cover up these repressed emotions. It's to give you a gift at the end of the day. It's a reward system because you made it through the day or you made it through the week. These are all excuses, and you have to work through all these layers of nonsense and irrational thought processes. So to put this in perspective, you're 35 years old and you're drinking because something happened when you were 12 years old. So you drink. To cover that up, to cover up that emotion. Rather than dealing with that emotion, going to a counselor, working through that, understanding that that wasn't your fault, but now you're ruining your own life because of this past experience. And you really need to evolve from that. You need to grow emotionally if you're ever going to hope to obtain any kind of sustainable sobriety. And if you break it down, Why are you injecting what's essentially alcohol, which is a class 1 carcinogen, into your body to make up for something that happened in your past, or if you had a rough day? Think about it. I mean, where's the rationale in that? You're literally putting a poisonous substance into your body to overcome some experience that happened in your past or that happened recently. Where's the thinking in that? How did we get here? And you have to step back and look at your own life in an objective way and have the ability to objectively look at your own life and go, wow, this really doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe I should do something else and try some other behavior to deal with my repressed emotions, with my anxiety, my stress, and with my overthinking and victimization. Just a thought. To sum it up, breaking down the irrationality of what it is to become an alcoholic really needs to be faced by the alcoholic themselves. They need to break down their own life and really have the realization of what they're doing to themselves, and then in a broader sense, what they're doing to everybody and every other relationship in their life. If you want to, in-depth conversation, you want to go further with us, Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. It's the story of my wife, who I was married to for 25 years. And unfortunately, she succumbed to the disease 5 years ago. The book can be found right in the link tree. There's an international link, and you can buy it right on the website. It's also on Amazon, and you can buy the ebook on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, and on Apple. And when you're ready to work with me, I have a complete coaching program. Again, the link is in the bio. Set up a Calendy call. Call is free. The course is definitely not. It takes about 45 minutes, but I'm looking for people who want to change their lives and the lives of their family. And again, thanks so much for listening.